Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for logging on and joining us to be being a part of another Golf News webinar. It's going to be an interesting one today because recently we've been focusing on education. We've been looking at schools and we've been looking at universities with this academic year returning this week. But a bit of a change today. Today we're going to be focusing on second citizenship and Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program, and in particular, just how family friendly it is. So today what we're looking to do is how to bring your family together with Citizenship of Dominica. I'm your moderator of the webinar this afternoon. My name is Lachlan Kitchen, but please call me Kitch, as everyone does. I'm an Australian media presenter. I've been in the media for just under 20 years, and I am exceptionally interested in today's topic because I've always, like many of you, had a fascination for the beautiful islands of the Caribbean. When you think about it, you think of the stunning beaches, the crystal clear water, the perfect weather that you have all year round. Who hasn't dreamed of spending a long vacation in the beautiful part of the world? Now, if you aren't aware, Dominica is in the southern part of the Caribbean. It's down near Grenada. And today we are specifically going to be discussing the Citizenship by Investment program. The reason is this presents a tremendous opportunity for you and for your family due to the importance of family life in Dominica. And one of the things I think that 2020 has certainly taught us, with so many places going into lockdown, is the importance of family. And it's taught us it's not about the material things. Family is what's been important in all of our lives for this year. So joining us today to discuss how you can bring your family together, we do have two very special guests. Firstly, and it's with great honour, we'll be speaking to the Prime Minister of Dominica, Dr. the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, and then we'll speak to the head of the Citizenship Investment Unit, His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan. Prime Minister, I know it's early in the morning, so thank you very much for making time for us this afternoon.
Good afternoon to all of you, and it's my pleasure to be part of this event. I believe it's a very timely topic and discussion, and I look forward to engaging yourself on the questions and the points which you may pose to me today. So I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Now, I know our ambassador is in, so we're looking forward to speaking to His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan, who is the head of the Citizenship Investment Unit. But to you, the Prime Minister, the question, the Commonwealth of Dominica is known as a country that values family. And with many domestic units composed in Dominica of extended households with several generations, how is this reflected in Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program?
Well, first of all, the family is at the center of the Dominican society. We have been known for a very long time, up to this point, of having a very high presence of extended family arrangements. So you have sometimes great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all living in the same household. And we also have the nuclear family. You have communities where everybody is related, you know. So the issue of family is very important to us. And it is for this reason that we have also brought this on board in our CBI program, recognizing that in many parts of the world, especially in the Middle East and in some parts of Asia, you have the same family structures. People look out for each other. People take care of the family, the parents and grandparents, in a very admirable manner. And so, having consulted with a number of stakeholders in the marketplace, including prospective applicants and also people who have become citizens, we have our marketing agency as global. We have developers and promoters engaging in discussions as to how can we enhance the CBI program, how can we make it more attractive to our prospective applicants, but also how do we reach out to these families to ensure that we can keep families together and not let people believe being part of a family is a bad thing. And so there's certain benefits which come and there's certain benefits which don't come. And so in our CBI program, Recently, we made some changes to it, and I just want to draw to your attention some of the changes which we made to the CBI program where the family is concerned, if you allow me. For example, one, any dependent can be related to either the main applicant or the main applicant's spouse. Two, we impose no age limitations on parents and grandparents. Three, for all adult dependents other than a spouse, there need only be a showing of substantial support on the part of the main applicant or the spouse of the main applicant, where previously we required full support. So previously we required full support, now we just need to show substantial support. Four, we allow siblings up to the age of 25, but we are also cautious that for any sibling who is a minor, that is under the age of 18, consent must be granted by the parents. And then we are the only country really that allows the spouses of qualifying parents and grandparents to also be included in a CBI application, so long as there is a showing that they are substantially supported by the main applicant or the main applicant's spouse. So this is this is, we could say, a groundbreaking policy that the government has, the Dominican program has introduced, because we understand the importance of family, we understand the importance of keeping families together, we understand the need for family members to continue looking out for each other.
Yeah, it does seem you are being quite a trailblazer in that with some of those changes. They're very interesting, and I think they will be interesting to many of our readers here at Gulf News, because here in the UAE and in other areas of the Middle East, people do tend to have those large families where you've got multiple generations living in the one house. So would you therefore recommend Dominica as a nation for which relocation would be desirable for large families?
Oh yes, not only large families, for single people, for a husband and wife, or a husband and wife and one child, a husband and parent. You know, we welcome everyone in Dominica, and I believe that Dominica is well suited to receiving our friends and families for a number of reasons. You know, we look at life and we need three things essentially from a country, a government. One, security and a safe place for ourselves and our families and for us to conduct business. Two, a good education system. And three, a good health system. In respect to security and safety, we have minimal crime in Dominica. You, as a visitor to Dominica, you could walk the streets, you know, and ask questions for directions. If you are seen walking, you very well have somebody stop and ask you where you're going to, and they will certainly provide you a lift to take you to your destination. You can go to our beaches and to our waterfalls with no fear of your safety. So we are a safe place for you to raise your family. And Dominica, no doubt, is a very safe place. Two, in education, we have a very robust education system, an education system that responds to the current needs of the society, the current needs of the world. And when our children get educated in Dominica, they can compete and succeed in any education system across the world. We have students in China, we have students in Russia, we have students in the United States of America, we have students in Canada, we've had students in Australia, in Serbia, you know, so you name the countries, we have had more students go into these countries, into universities, performing well, and certainly even surpassing the level of success that many of the students from these own countries have. And so our literacy rate is about 98%. We have free education up to age 16. And we also provide substantial support to our students to attain higher education, both nationally and externally. In regards to our healthcare system, we are investing heavily on improving the infrastructure. So as we speak, we have our new national hospital under construction. It will be completed next year, God's willing. We're also building a new hospital in the north, closer to the airport, to provide for any emergencies in the event of any eventualities at the airport and in that health district. We're also modernizing our primary healthcare system. We have been noted for having a very good, an excellent primary healthcare system. So we're building a number of new health centers. But that is on the infrastructure side. We also are introducing new services to our citizens and visitors alike, and also critically training people at all levels. You know, whether you're an orderly, whether you're a nurse or a pharmacist, a physician, a surgeon, we are providing you with the training and access to training and new methods of treating patients, so that we're in a position where anything were to happen to any of our citizens or visitors, we're in a position to support. But and just to show you, just to draw to your attention a point. I mean, we're in the middle of this pandemic, this global pandemic of COVID-19. We're a small country, but we have not had one death as a result of COVID-19.
Wow.
Every one of our citizens who contracted this virus recovered successfully. And, you know, there are patients with underlying health issues, and they're high risk. And many of them in many countries have unfortunately passed on. We had a case, or two cases, but I'll reference one, an 85-year-old man who contracted the virus. He's suffering from diabetes, hypertension, he's asthmatic, and he's 85 years old. So that person would be in the high risk category, and likely succumb to COVID-19. In the Commonwealth of Dominica, that gentleman was treated, and he successfully recovered, and is home with his family and his community. So and it speaks to the seriousness that we place and the attention which we place on healthcare for all, because we also provide free healthcare to everyone who is 18 years and younger, and everyone who is 60 years and older. So in the next couple of years, we shall have universal access to free secondary and tertiary healthcare in our country. Primary healthcare is free, but secondary and tertiary, in the next couple of years, we shall have universal access.
Well, I think that comes as probably a lot of comfort to people who are thinking of their grandparents and their elderly relatives. They would be fascinated to hear you speak about that, Prime Minister. But for those who would like to visit Dominica, without necessarily establishing a permanent home there, Dominica has created an ever more refined tourism brand. So what would you say would be some of the key features of Dominica that attract people from all over the world that want to come to your island?
Well, first of all, you know, we pride ourselves on nature. You know, it's a place where you can certainly rejuvenate yourself, find yourself again, because sometimes we are so busy with work that we forget that there's another part of life, which is to enjoy life. And I think Dominica provides that opportunity. I mean, we are known for waterfalls, for rivers, for lakes, for hot springs. You know, we have a national trail, what we call it the Waitikubi National Trail, which traverses from the south of the country all the way to the north of Dominica, in a natural setting, unspoiled, untouched. And we also are very much concerned about the environment. This is why we promote more ecotourism, building the tourism brand around the environment, seeking to preserve and to conserve the environment for future generations to enjoy, especially in a time when we speak about climate change and the need for us to reduce some carbon emissions in the atmosphere. Dominica has prided itself as being a major protector and at the vanguard of protecting the environment for many generations prior and many generations to come. We also have a number of luxury properties that we have been able to develop. We have one of the oldest European brands, Kempinski in Dominica, a 5-star hotel that provides a wide range of amenities and certainly tailors the services to their varying guests. And of course, we have the Secret Bay. The Secret Bay has received a number of accolades internationally for the quality of their service, the high rankings they receive for the property. It's another area, Jungle Bay, also which is financed by the Citizenship by Investment Program, provides an ecotourism friendly environment, and so the number of things that people can enjoy in Dominica, even if you don't want to relocate permanently. So let us not waste our monies and go to places like Paris and Denmark, and we've been to places. They're similar to where we live in these metropolitan countries, and so if you really want to have a renewed life, then Dominica is a place to be. And you can access the hot springs at 2 a.m. in the morning, or 5 a.m. in the morning, or 11 p.m. and not be fearful about your safety. So book your flights. And if you're talking about in a time when COVID-19 is so rampant in so many parts of the world, where lockdowns are always on the horizon, you're fearful for your children to go out to play or go to school, come to Dominica. We, in fact, are reopening schools this September. Every one of our children will be returning to school in September because we believe that it is safe for them to do so, and there are no major risks of their contracting COVID-19 while in the classroom. So, and we are one of the few countries that have contemplated this and are in fact going to implement it.
Well, that's something very impressive, that you're at that situation where all students are returning to schools. I know many parents here in the UAE have got children going back to school tomorrow, and they're doing the juggling of working from home and the kids working. And, I think that they'd be very envious of being in a situation where you've been able to keep COVID-19 under control. But you just mentioned before the Kempinski hotel chain. That's very well known here in the UAE from having some of the best hotels. And many of those resorts and the development projects that you mentioned that are part of the reason that people like to travel to Dominica on the back of the ecotourism and the nature and the hot springs that you have. But in those hotels you mentioned, many of them have been sponsored, at least in part, by Dominica's CBI program. So to what degree is your government committed to this program?
Well, we're very committed to it, and this is why I avail myself to such events, to be able to be quizzed by you on our program, and to educate the public about our program. So from the highest level of the government of the country, we take this very seriously. Our citizens appreciate the importance of the CBI. The CBI has been a lifeblood of source of non-tax revenue for various developmental projects, investments in education, in health, in agriculture, small business development, tourism. You name it, the CBI certainly plays a very important role. It plays a role in the payment of our external debt, and containing our external debt or national debt. In respect to these hotels, we've been very careful, my friend, about the number of projects and the type of projects which we give consideration to. Had we given consideration to all projects that have been submitted to us, we will have about 100 of them. Also, we've been very careful, one, to protect the investor and to ensure that the investor's investments are protected, and you don't have somebody running away with somebody's money. But also, we wanted to ensure that the projects fall within our whole ecotourism friendly approach. And so we have, as I said, the Kempinski that was successfully completed. We have the Anachi by the Marriott that is under construction, and construction will come to an end in 2021. We have Hilton by Curio, which is also a major development, a 5-star development. All of its superstructures are completed. They've been doing now fit outs on this property. We have Jungle Bay that was completed, and Jungle Bay used the COVID-19 period to complete construction. So they now have in excess of 80 villas, 80 rooms available to the public, and they'll be reopening in October of this year to the guests. We have Secret Bay, which is, as indicated, a renowned property that has received a number of international accolades. We are doing about 40 villas with them. They have started construction. They will have a number of villas completed by December of 2020 and extend these properties to guests. And so all of our properties so far have been successful, thank God, because we have carefully selected them and given careful consideration to these projects. And I can give the existing investors and prospective investors the confidence that we take these projects very, very seriously. And in respect to our CBI as well, you know, you're a citizen of Dominica, you're a citizen of Dominica. There's no real differentiation. You know, we value the citizenship. Yes, the investment is important, but we also want to ensure that we do not play games with prospective applicants or prospective investors. You know, we value them and we protect them. So our constitution, and you know, we're part of the common law system. So people are protected. People's properties are protected by law. The government cannot nationalize or expropriate your properties. You have ownership to these properties, and if government were to acquire it, it must compensate you with market value prices. So the number of benefits to investing in Dominica, and in respect to your question, we value very much the CBI, but just to make a point, my friend, very importantly, at the center of our CBI program is a robust due diligence process. We value this because if we do not maintain the security of the CBI program, then it will come to naught. And this is why we always call on our stakeholders, the developers, the agents, the promoters, to always promote our program in keeping and in respect of the laws of Dominica and the law governing the CBI program. And so we do not compromise at all on the CBI program. In our case, we would prefer have a program come to an end instead of engaging ourselves in any nefarious activities that could bring the whole industry into disrepute. And so we value very much the due diligence process. And in some cases, we go above and beyond to do checks on our applicants to ensure that those who are applying for Dominican citizenship are bona fide individuals and can stand the test of scrutiny by any international agency or country.
Well, I think a lot of investors and also people that are looking for citizenship would welcome that you've got that right balance between the construction and also maintaining the natural beauty from ecotourism. I think a lot of people would be very relieved to hear that you certainly still have that vision to strike the right balance, which is always so important. If I can ask you, Prime Minister, based here in the UAE, how would you describe your country's relationship with the UAE, and what would be your ambitions in the future for that relationship?
I think if I were to use one word to describe it, I would say excellent. We have great relations with the UAE. It's a country we value very much, the friendship that we have engendered between ourselves. The UAE has been a very strong partner to Dominica in a number of areas, especially renewable energy. They are assisting with a major battery storage for solar energy. They've also helped us in healthcare. They provided us technical assistance in a number of other areas. And this is one of the reasons why we have decided to establish an embassy in Abu Dhabi for a number of reasons. One, to say to our friends in the UAE and to demonstrate to them how serious we are with regards to the relationship that we have developed over the last several years. And also to promote trade and economic opportunities between the UAE and Dominica, and to provide services to our citizens who are resident in the UAE. There are a number of things that we can learn from the UAE in terms of their experiences, in terms of their policies, and we are looking at those. They have shared some with us. And so the relationship is excellent. I believe in the years to come, it will certainly be deepened and strengthened. And no doubt, I can say that we have very, very, very good relations with the UAE. and we appreciate the leadership of the UAE. And this is why we always say to our citizens that we have to respect the constitution and the laws of the UAE. They have been good to all of us who are resident there. They have created opportunities for many of us who are resident in the UAE. And the least we can do is to show appreciation and respect for the leadership and for the good people of United Arab Emirates. And so our relationship, no doubt, will strengthen and deepen in the years to come.
Well, we look forward to welcoming you for your next visit, Prime Minister. I think that'd be great to continually focus on that relationship that you do describe as excellent. But focusing on Dominica again, I understand now for 3 consecutive years, Dominica has secured #1, not even #2, but #1 for best CBI program in the Financial Times CBI Index. This is an amazing feat. How have you and how has Dominica managed to consistently be in this #1 position?
Well, we are flattered by this, and we are grateful that there are independent arbiters who have examined our program and have declared Dominica's program to be #1. But with that accolade, we don't sit on our laurels. We don't get complacent. We don't dilute our high standards. Whenever we are criticized, whenever we are promoted as being #1 in this case, we seek to even do our own introspection as to what else can we do to enhance the program, what else can we do to minimize the risk associated with this program, how else can we make it more attractive, how can we make it more respected in the international community. What can we do to increase our cooperation and collaboration with our various international agencies and countries who from time to time may have concerns about our programs or the industry as a whole? So we do not become complacent. We appreciate this accolade because it reinforces the points that we have made about our due diligence. Because when you look at this report, it references very highly the due diligence processes that we take. We're very efficient, but we do not compromise on the due diligence processes. Very soon we shall introduce this year actually the biometric passports. We have issued a contract to a Canadian firm to supply us with these passports. We'll also be improving the security of our CONs, or Certificate of Naturalization, to protect people's personal data, but also to protect the security of our country and the security of our friends in international and regional communities. So we're very grateful by this commendation, and no doubt it reinforces in our mind how important the program is, but how important it is for us to maintain the high standards and the high integrity that we have maintained. So it's not only we who are saying that we have a robust program, a program that values due diligence, but international independent arbiters are saying that. And this is important, especially when you have so many negative propaganda about various programs, banded on social media and various news outlets. I think these are good publications to have that people could read and people can recognize that the CBI industry is really an important industry. And countries like Dominica are making a very important contribution to international peace and international prosperity. When you have so many families, so many individuals who are born stateless, why should anybody in this world be born stateless? We should all belong to a country. We should all belong to a state. We should all belong to a region. And there are people who have had to leave their countries, not because of their own doing, but because of circumstance. We all want to find peace for our families and ourselves, and to ensure that our children can grow up in a safe environment. And then when the Lord calls us, we can know that we have left our children in a very comfortable environment and safe environment. And so the contribution that countries like Dominica is making, and St. Kitts and Grenada and Antigua and Barbuda and St. Lucia, I believe, truth be told, we should really be given some kind of commendation by the United Nations, for example, and the UNHCR you know, for what we're doing for humanity. Yes, there is an economic benefit to it, but one must not underestimate our contribution to humanity and to global peace and global prosperity. So we welcome the rating, the third year in a row. You know, but this is not going to cause us to become complacent at all. We have to press on. We have to seek the advice and the guidance on how we can make our program as watertight as possible to ensure that there are no negatives associated with our program.
Well, you make some great points, Prime Minister, and it's no surprise that you're number one after 3 years, when you still have that, that gratitude, and you're not resting on your laurels. There's constant growth for both the people, for the economy of Dominica. So it really does put you in an enviable position, and a position that, as you said, should really be recognised, because that is a tremendous achievement to receive that number one position for 3 years in a row. At this stage, I will thank you very much for your time. You've made some excellent points where you talk about, the security that you have for the citizens, when you talk about, how good the education is for students and for families, but also the healthcare system, including your tremendous results in the fight against COVID-19. So I thank you to you, Dr. the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and whenever you wish to invite me again, let me know. I'll be obliged. I want to thank you, and of course, I want to wish all of the guests a wonderful evening. And may God bless the United Arab Emirates, may God bless the world and our Commonwealth of Dominica. And I pray to God that we shall overcome this pandemic and sooner rather than later.
Wise words, Prime Minister. Thank you very much, especially early in the morning in Dominica. So I thank you as we move on to His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan, who is the head of the Dominican Citizenship Investment Unit. I'm glad we've got you on, His Excellency, because we were looking at your profile picture for a long time, and I thought, we were just going to look at your good-looking picture, but you're just as good-looking in person. Well, you've mastered it. Good to have you on this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Good evening to listeners. Good morning, Prime Minister. I thought you were excellent as usual. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you.
Look, we really are in an amazing time, certainly for Dominica and this CBI program. That's the Citizenship by Investment program we're discussing today, for anyone who is just joining our webinar. Now, it was only last month in July 2020, this was an exciting time for the Dominica CBI program, as he had some brand new regulations that were gazetted. Now, His Excellency, could you tell us some more about how these new regulations impact the way an applicant can include family members in their application?
Well, Keith, as the Prime Minister referenced earlier on, in Dominica, for us, the family is the key to who we are as a society, as a people. Therefore, when we were faced with challenges of COVID, we took some time off, we reflected, and we thought, what could be our contribution to humanity? What could be our contribution to the world, to the CBI program globally, to the migration program globally? And we thought what we could do was to allow families to feel more secure, to feel closer to each other. As a result, we made some changes to amend the regulations to ensure that more members of the family can be kept together by the CBI program. So one thing which we did really was to ensure, first and foremost, that you could add your siblings to your application. So you could, very often in families, you have a family main applicant, but there's always a brother or a sister who is older, who has been more successful, and who takes care of the rest of the family. So once you have siblings under 25, then you could add those. So right now, you could add your children once they are under 30. We have removed the qualification that they must be at the university. We have allowed that also your parents could be added irrespective of their age. Your grandparents could also be added, both grandparents of the spouse and of the main applicant. We felt that as a unit, it is better facing tough times, challenging times, when we stick together. And our contribution to the world was to ensure that we do the best that we can to allow people to stay together. So you could add your children once they're under 30. You could add your parents, your grandparents. You could add the parents and grandparents of the spouse of the main applicant. And we just ensure that now they have to be dependent or substantially dependent on the main applicant. So we made it a bit easier for the main applicant to apply for all of these people. We believe that it is important that children and siblings can be biological as well as they could be adopted. So if you have an adopted child, then you could add that child as well. If it's your biological child, of course, it goes without saying. And in Dominica, citizenship is hereditary. So it means, therefore, that you could pass on your citizenship to any child you have after you have become, once you're a citizen of Dominica. Any child you have thereafter qualifies to be a citizen as well. I mentioned earlier on that we moved the age requirements for parents and grandparents because we believe keeping the family together, as I'll reiterate, the importance of family and the importance that families stay together as a people. So really and truly, our amendments to the regulations in July was our contribution to humanity. It was our contribution to ensuring that we stay safe, that we feel comfortable when we're going through challenging and difficult times. Obviously, the challenges that we face now as a people globally with the COVID situation is a very tough and very rough one. And we felt the more comfortable we can let our families feel, the closer we can keep our families together, then the better we would be as a people. So this has been our contribution as we reflect. Because very often people look at programs and look at things that they could do to maybe make more money, to attract more people. We believe that this program, as the Prime Minister mentioned, is not just a program that brings in money. It's a program where we make our contribution to humanity. And in doing so, we find ways and means of improving all the time. So you mentioned our success from the Financial Times being #1. I believe it is those soft touches that really put us ahead of the game, because we listen to our citizens, we listen to our investors, our stakeholders, and we make the changes that affect the people. Our program reaches out to the heart and soul of the people who invest in our program. We embrace all our citizens, as the Prime Minister mentioned. Whether you're a born citizen or you're a citizen to the program, there's no differentiation in our constitution to a citizen of Dominica. A citizen is a citizen is a citizen.
And as the Prime Minister spoke about, the importance of family is so strong, which you've mentioned there. And, for anyone who is here in the UAE, that's comfort listening to, because here we have the same position with so many generations living under the one roof. So His Excellency, I'll just follow up that with just one more point. Under these new regulations, what would happen, say, if I moved to Dominica and I became a citizen, but then I, had a child or I married? What would the situation there? Would they still be included?
Under our program, whether you're the main applicant or you're a dependent, once you're a Dominican, when you have a child after you're a Dominican citizen, that child qualifies to be a citizen of Dominica. And for that, we do not charge. There's a processing fee of $500, and that is all that would be paid to get the necessary papers. It's a processing fee of $500. There's no charge to become a citizen. So once you are already a citizen, any child you have thereafter would qualify to be a citizen as well. If you get married after you're a citizen, then we would do diligence on your spouse, of course, but you would have to pay the fees of $75,000 for your spouse. If you were married before, and you were already married and your spouse, you did not put in your spouse in the application, then of course you could add that person, but we could discuss that a bit later.
Now, I've got one situation which I wanted to raise with you. What would happen if, say, I had a family member who could have qualified under the program, but I didn't add them to my application, when I was first applying? What is the situation? Can I then add them at a later date?
And the answer to that in short is yes. We would allow you to add your family members. If sometimes people would hold back on other members, it could be because of the availability of cash at the time, or it could be because they wanted to see how well these things work. And what we would do, we would allow you to add your qualified dependents at the time of application at a later date. If you do so within a year of you applying and getting citizenship, then the cost for adding them would be the same as if you had added them in the original application. In other words, if you are married and you applied for yourself and you want to add your wife after, if you do so within 1 year, you would pay $50,000, which would be the amount that you would pay for your spouse, or your child fee $25,000, etc. If you wait more than a year after you have become a citizen, then you would pay an additional $25,000 extra per dependent. So there's an incentive for adding your dependents in the application or within a year of the application. Of course, if you wait more than a year and we may have to go back to due diligence, and therefore there may be additional costs for due diligence fees as well. But the important thing is that as an applicant, you could add your family, your dependents, meaning your children once they're under 30, your parents, your grandparents, your brothers and sisters once they are under 25 and unmarried without children. If you add a child, your brother or your sister, your sibling who are under 18, it is $25,000. If you add a sibling who is over 18 but under 25, it will be $50,000. Of course, if you're going to add a sibling who is under 18, then you would need the consent of the parents or those who are legally responsible for your brother or sister. So it is important to note those things. But importantly, you could add them, and we give you up to a year to be able to add all the members, all your dependents who would have qualified as dependents at the time that you were a citizen or you became a citizen of Dominica.
That's some very good advice, His Excellency, because I know if I was to move to Dominica, my sister wouldn't want to initially go, but then she would see the photos of how good life is. She would then want to be added to the application later on. So I think a few families may be in that same position. Thank you to everyone who is currently watching our latest Gulf News webinar. We are discussing the Citizenship by Investment program with Dominica, and it's an amazing program. It has been #1 ranked by the Financial Times for the past 3 consecutive years. And there were some changes that were gazetted in July 2020, which we want to discuss with you further. Are there any other changes that were made that are family friendly in nature?
Yes, when we looked at the fees that we charge for dependents, we felt there seemed to have been an abnormality with the cost of adding your spouse. So before, if you're a citizen, you want to add your child, it's $25,000. Now you could add your sibling, your parents, grandparents, it's $25,000. But we were charging $75,000 for adding your spouse. So we felt that was a little unjust. So we have reduced the cost of adding your spouse by $25,000. So it means therefore that now you could add your spouse for $50,000 instead of $75,000. As a result, a family application, a family of up to 4 would have been before $200,000. At present, it would be now $175,000. So we have ensured that we did that to keep the family together, and we felt that there was some kind of injustice in terms of the cost for adding spouse. So we have reduced that. So that has been very important for us. It's more affordable for a family. It's more affordable, more encouraging to keeping the family unit together, and that for us, of course, is important. So you could add your child, you could add your parents, grandparents, irrespective of age. You could add your children up to 30 once, even though they're at university or not. And then of course, there's one other person. You could add any dependent. You could have who is mentally or physically retarded or unable. There's no age limit for that person. So if you have a sick brother or sister or a sick child, it doesn't matter whether he's 5 or whether he's 45. You would be able to add them as dependents as well. Again, giving credence to what the importance we place on the family. We have to take care of those who are less fortunate among us and those who are more vulnerable among us. And as a country, as a people, we sincerely believe in that. The Prime Minister has articulated that on many, many occasions. The Prime Minister has put in a number of programs in Dominica to take care of those who are less fortunate people, like our Yes We Care program. We take care of the people who are elderly, who are left alone, whose children went away. We send people to take care of them at the homes, or NEP program or National Employment Program, providing job experience for young people. There are a number of things that we do. And basically, it speaks to who we are as a country. It speaks to who we are as a people. And that for us is very important.
Well, you've spoken just then, and also the Prime Minister, in regards to just how strong family focus is and how family-friendly the program is. So it's no surprise that your CBI program has been ranked #1 for so many years. But going further into it, His Excellency, in addition to family friendliness, what are some of the other key features that set the Dominican CBI program apart from other similar programs that are available?
I think the joy and the beauty of our program is in the simplicity of our program. an applicant is given a choice to choose from two investments, one, a direct government contribution, or two, an investment in a pre-approved government real estate. However, unless he or she receives an approval in principle, providing the applicant with a high degree of certainty, then we do not ask you to make any payments upfront. Additionally, the applicant need not preoccupy himself with time-consuming traveling, or whether you have to go to interviews, or whether there's a language test, etc. We try to make our program as simple as possible so that our applicants can apply, be simple, and move forward. Our agents are given the opportunity to apply online, electronically on our portal. So in time like now, when we have the COVID situation, when our country was locked down, as we were for a while after, a few months ago, we could do our work from our home. When we had a hurricane a few years ago, we could do our work from anywhere in the world, because it is simple, it is efficient, and we do not consume too much time in going through your application. So efficiency is our key word again. Simplicity, efficiency is important for us. So we approve our applicants within 3 months, generally within 3 months. So our investors, who we consider as VIP, do not have to wait too long. VIP clients are used to being treated in a certain way, and we have acknowledged that, we recognize that, and we assign a member of staff to every applicant on application, so that person continues to get a VIP treatment as he or she would have done operating from his own company, or from his own home, or from his own town, wherever he or she resides. The importance of VIP is paramount to us. And of course, the applicant, when he applies to Dominica, he's aware that this program has been around from 1993. Longevity of our program demonstrates clearly that we are a program that's successful. We know what we're doing. You could invest. We have seen people becoming citizens, their children become citizens, their grandchildren, their children, and it goes on and on and on. So in other words, longevity, we have proven and stood the test of time. Our investors know that, our agents know that, and that, I believe, is paramount to the success of our program as well.
Yeah, His Excellency, that's a tremendous point. You know, there's a reason a lot of businesses can be in business for so long, and that's because they're successful. And when you point out that you've been around since 1993, it's no surprise that when you have those key pillars of simplicity, that you've only got the 3-month waiting period, which can, mean so much to so many people when they are applying for programs like this. It really is no surprise that you rank #1 for so many years. And the Dominican CBI program, because of it, is always associated with such a high level of due diligence. So would you be able to just tell us a little bit more about how this due diligence process that is applied to each application that comes in?
Of course, I believe that the heart and soul of our program is really our commitment to due diligence. You could have a program to be successful, to be around for a long while. The global community has to ensure that there is solid due diligence. And because of that, we are able to expand the number of visa-free access globally. So 3-4 years ago, we had access to 120 countries. Today, we are up to 140 countries, and we're counting. We have added places like Russia. We have signed with China. We added Brazil. We're working on a number of countries in Africa, in Europe, etc. So, and that's because our applicants and our process ensures that due diligence is important. Yeah, normally 40 years of due diligence for our program. First and foremost, we don't accept applications directly from an agent, from an investor. It must go through an agent, and that agent must fill out a Know Your Client form, and must submit with the application a world check from one of the recognized global check, and there are many of them around Thomson Reuters, etc. etc. The list goes on. They must know the client, fill out that form. They must submit to us a world check from one of the recognized world check programs. When that comes in, the first thing we do, we would send out information from the application to our regional security, our joint regional security system, for ensuring that they check all the names, all the applicants, both main applicants and dependents, through global security checks with international partners. That is important for us. So that goes out on day one. Then our staff would go through the application, and our staff have been trained in anti-money laundering and in many other programs to ensure that the people who are applying are in fact people who we want to and we would welcome as citizens of Dominica. We send out the application then to one of 4 due diligence firms, and we have contracted the best due diligence firms in the world who do due diligence for the largest financial agencies. We choose firms from the UK and from the US mainly, and they must do for us an enhanced due diligence. They must do a boots on the ground due diligence. They interface with people in the community where the applicant grew up, where the applicant lives, where he or she operates, interview people in the field in which the applicant operates. So if you're into banking, they will get people from the banking sector who would know you and who would reference you. If you're into oil and gas, they would look at people in the area. Into agriculture, whatever. They would get information from your specific field. They would check the schools that you went to, check people, interview people who went to school with you, because for us, due diligence is exceptionally important. It is after we have gone through those phases, those 4 phases of due diligence, then we will give you an application, an approval in principle to become a citizen of Dominica. Knowing how challenging it is in certain countries to conduct due diligence, we do not believe that we could take the chance to conduct due diligence on certain countries, and therefore we have a limit of people in certain countries. For example, in Iran, in North Korea, and in Sudan. We will not accept applicants from those countries if you live and work in those areas, because it is very difficult getting the information, the thorough, in-depth information that we need and we require to guarantee that you are someone who we want to accept in Dominica and given a Dominican passport to travel the world. So if you live and reside in those countries, we won't accept you. If you are from one of those countries, but you live outside of the country for more than 10 years and you have no substantial assets in those countries or income coming from those countries, then we would consider your application. When we do so, however, you would have to pay an extra amount for even further, deeper due diligence, because our commitment to the global society is important to our program. We don't want to have someone into our program with a Dominican passport and then he or she is found wanting by anyone. So we take excessive care to ensure that the people who are allowed to be citizens of Dominica and to travel the world, the globe with the Dominican passport, are people who are fit and proper to do so. So that for us is always important. And again, due diligence, I would say, would be if efficiency, if experience, if longevity is the heart and soul, is the lifeblood, the main aspect of our program is actually the due diligence. That is the heartbeat of our program. It lies with our due diligence process.
Well, he made the point earlier on, His Excellency, that if you're not any good in business, you won't last very long. And your program has been going since 1993. And I think that what you explained there through your due diligence, you know, when you work that with both the simplicity of it and the understanding of the concerns of people and their family, it's no surprise that Dominica's CBI program is consistently number one. His Excellency, thank you very much for your time. I know it's early in the morning in Dominica, so I'll let you get on with your day, another day in paradise, which I'm sure you're having. And thank you very much for your time on the Gulf News webinar this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much for discussing Dominica. We welcome all to visit our website. Let's interact, let's interface. And again, we know we're going through the COVID situation, so we wish all the best. Stay safe, stay inside. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan, who is the head of Dominican's Citizenship by Investment Unit. And you heard from both His Excellency and also the Prime Minister about just how exceptional this program is. When you look at those pillars of security, of health, of education, when you see that this program has been around and is ranked number one for the last 3 consecutive years, it really does provide you and your family with a tremendous opportunity as a part of Dominica's CBI program. So it has been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you to everyone who has joined, who has logged in, who has watched. It's been, well, a very informative session. Thank you to everyone who has joined. Also, thank you to the team here at Gulf News. It's always great working with you. My name is Lachlan Kitchen. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to your company at our next Gulf News webinar. Thank you.
Yeah.